This is Team 5's COVID-19 pandemic project over HEB. My teammates are Cindy Langston, Kevin Ongiri, and Bridget Tidwell. HEB is a food and grocery retail business with an essential operating infrastructure. Their first store was established in 1905 by Florence Butt for the total of $60. They were the original grocer in Kerrville, Texas, and today they are still ran by the Butt family. HEB currently has 340 stores throughout the state of Texas and Mexico. HEB's general stores, which are their largest number of stores in the state, tend to be just your regular everyday grocery stores. Nothing special about them at all. Then you have HEB Central Market stores, which are geared towards your foodies and your wine lovers. Usually you'll find sommeliers and chefs on hand with dinner ideas and recommendations for what to do if you're having those type of events. HEB Plus, which is their largest footprint stores, those tend to have items such as barbecue pits, patio furniture, different plants and stuff of those natures available to their customers for different events that they may have going on. They have Mi Tiendas, which are geared towards their Latin American focused groups. Joe V Smart Shops, which are for their discount groceries, for those looking for a little bit more bang for their buck. Today, HEB employs over 120,000 plus employees. They serve Texas and Mexico, like I stated previously. They do $28 billion in annual sales. They are the largest privately held company in Texas. Their largest competitors are Walmart, Kroger, Aldi, and Target. Their service falls to the right of the product service continuum. They have mixed fixed assets and inventory assets. They have low labor intensity and medium capital intensity.
My name is Bridget, and I'll be going over the impacts that COVID-19 has had on HEB. First, I'm going to start with a rundown of what the pandemic is all about. COVID-19 is a coronavirus disease caused by a new virus that is spread via person to person. The first outbreak happened December 2019, hence the 19 part of the name of the virus. January 2020, the virus was spread to the US. On March 11th, 2020, COVID-19 was declared a pandemic in the US. Initially, this caused customers to start stockpiling products. It's caused empty shelves. The stores were unable to keep up with demand of sanitizing, disinfecting, and paper products. This also created stockouts. Also, initially, there was long lines that circled around all of the stores. The pandemic also created staff shortages. This was caused by employees not reporting to work due to the risk of community spread. Employees were also being pulled from other departments and stores to clean and sanitize, which all of this together caused the fatigued employees. The pandemic also increased costs, the costs associated with new cleaning and sanitizing protocols, hiring security, extending paid sick leave policy for employees, hiring new employees, and also the costs associated with overtime pay to employees to stay after hours in stock. The pandemic also increased sales volume. It increased orders for curbside and delivery. It overwhelmed the supply chain. There has been a growing number of HEB employees that have tested positive for the coronavirus due to their risk of working during the pandemic. The pandemic also increased scrutiny on store standards such as cleanliness and sanitizing practices.
My name is Kevin Ongiri. I'll be analyzing the response to COVID-19 by the HEB management. The HEB management started working on a pandemic plan in 2005 after the H5N1 flu outbreak. And they also used this plan in 2009 in response to the H1N1 flu outbreak. Ever since, they have refined and revised the plan to make it better for the upcoming pandemics on the horizon. So what HEB did was they initiated communication with their Chinese counterparts in January 2020, which is this year, to understand the needs, lesson learned, and change and the pace of the product needs and what affect them in general. What they did was they did tabletop simulation exercises, and they compared the plan and the reports based on what they found out. The first thing they did, they prepared the employees. They asked the corporate employees to volunteer to work shifts at the stores and the warehouse. They also activated Emergency Operation Center in March 4th of this year. They also reduced the store hours to allow time for the cleaning and restocking. Overnight, they implemented purchase limits on the certain essential items. They also instituted social distance procedures, which include dedicated secured entrances to meter customer flow. They implemented a maximum number of customers in their stores at a given time. They also put decal on the floors to show the 6 feet or 2 meter distance needed near the checkout and in high traffic areas. They put signs explaining social distance rules, which include the mask, putting on the mask, and they had stations where they had sanitizers, so you could sanitize your hands as you go in. They also asked families to just allow only one person to go shopping and the minimum number of children to come with them while they're shopping to limit the risk of exposure. They also, inside the stores, they had the intercom where the manager every so often was reminding people to stay at least 2 grocery carts away from each other. The management inside the stores, they enforced strict cleaning and sanitizing guidelines. The employees actually were sanitizing the shopping carts outside before going into the store and giving the customers one by one. And they had security guards allowing entry of like 5 or 10 people at once and restricting the flow to limit the number of shoppers. They installed clear partitions at the checkout stand in some stores for added protection to the cashiers and the baggers, the ones who are bagging the groceries. And also, one thing which I liked about HEB is they took care of the seniors, because they had at that point, at the onset of the breakout, the seniors had the most problems because they are the ones who are vulnerable to catching the virus. So they instituted online orders and a senior support line offering free deliveries to them. And with that, on the employee side, they actually increased their pay under the Texas Proud Pay initiative, where they added $2 on top of the regular pay during this outbreak. They also added more job opportunities for stockers, checkers, baggers, and customer service representatives. And they temporarily discontinued food demonstrations and daily services. And they also scaled back in volunteering at large gatherings, but focused on behind-the-scenes initiatives like partnering with Texas Black Expos to offer micro grants to small businesses, and donating $3 million to COVID-19 community support.
Now we're going to discuss recommendations for improvement. One major problem that we've seen is that customers are still violating the social distancing rules. We think having more staff members roaming in the store and down the aisle observing shoppers would be a huge help. turning away any groups over 3 people. This way that people are not allowed to bring their entire families into the store. Alter the environmental orientation by placing markers throughout every aisle to help shoppers visualize the 6-foot rule. Or maybe placing maps throughout the store directing where essential items can be found. We also think the change of the spatial layout of the store so that high demand items are not grouped together. This would really help in breaking down clusters of people in the same area. Several HEB employees have also tested positive for COVID. So we're thinking that all employees should be required to wear masks and gloves, and that those things be traded out, cleaned, or replaced regularly. We also think requiring shoppers to wear masks and gloves would be huge and very beneficial to everyone. We saw that Harris County has a new mask rule going into effect on the 27th, so we're hoping that will help many of the grocery stores. Possibly screening customers as they walk in like they do at the airports. We have seen that there's always somebody in the line, a manager or employee, when you enter in and when you exit. So maybe having those people with thermometers like they do to screen people that may or may not be carrying the virus. Increase customer participation by having customers use self-checkout lines. This will limit their employee interaction. Another problem is lack of consistency in the social distancing protocols. What we've seen is not all the stores here in the Houston area are the same. Some stores are very strict while other ones are very laxed. So maybe they should come get an assurance team together and have that team go to each store and implement the protocols that need to be had. This would maybe help the managers also to coordinate their employees and make it easier and more streamlined process. Create call number for customers to report any non-conforming stores. Motivate employees to stay diligent in enforcing the new protocols. Just remember that a lax attitude creates complacency, and when complacency sets in, more issues are going to happen. Reiterate daily to the managers, employees, and customers that this is a new culture and it must be followed to produce the new norms that align with social distancing protocols. One big thing that we saw is that there is a long waiting time for curbside and home delivery, sometimes up to a week or 2 weeks. We think that they should hire more dedicated members for just filling online orders. Allow more outside delivery services to pick up the groceries like Shipt or Uber Eats. Maybe create adjustable capacity so that employees can perform supportive tasks during slow periods, allowing them to concentrate on essential tasks of the curbside order filling during rush periods. Cross-train all your employees to fill online orders to create flexibility capacity to meet peak in demands. Another problem is shortage of certain items like toilet paper, hand sanitizer, and disinfectant cleaning supplies. We think that they need to work through supply chain to identify new suppliers, outsource the manufacturing of cleaning and sanitizing products, utilize chase demand to adjust capacity to match demand fluctuations, maintain safety stock of high demand items, virtually integrate the manufacturer of cleaning and sanitizing products themselves. They do this for toilet paper, but not for hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes. We feel like some of these implementations would be a huge benefit to HEB.